Session task stroke responsibility verifier.
Info indexer.
Can do it. Abdul or me, right, Lucy? Okay, let's move on to our desired outcome.
Check-ins first.
Oh, sorry, yeah. We need to check in. Can we check in between the Joyce? Joyce, can you check in, please?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yes. Hi. Hello. Good evening. Glad to join again this session, and I'm like 6.
Thank you, Joyce. Abdul?
Yes, I'm fine today, and really excited to join this seasonal session. I think this is my second session. I'm 7 today.
Thank you. Steve, can you check in, please?
Hi, guys. I'm glad once again to join you in this session. I'm at 6.
Okay, Albina, thank you, Steve.
Hello, everyone. I'm fine also to attend. I think this is the first session for me. I'm so happy about it. And I'm at 6.5.
Okay, thank you. Now, Jai, can you check in?
Yes, I can check in. Let me also share my screen. So I'm doing okay. It's pretty early here, but not too bad. I think, yeah, pretty good. And so I'm probably like a 5.5. And I'm looking forward to the session. Check.
Thank you, Jay. Hello, guys. I'm doing good today, and I'm at 5. Okay, let's move on to our desired outcome.
Cool.
Sorry, Jay. Can you tell again the number? Your number, because
5.5.
5.5. Thank you.
So as far as desired outcomes go, my desired outcomes were, let's see here. I have them. To basically, the main thing is like to just really focus in on our processes and our schedules and slow down. Yeah, so that's the main thing for me. So slow down, focus on our processes and our schedule, timing, etc., etc. And yeah, answer questions, cover everything we can. Or like, stick to 2 hours would be good. Stick to 2 hours. And then do the 30 minutes of wrap up. Other desired outcomes?
Can I make desired outcome to be able to come up with concrete like a Christmas bonus? If you don't mind, Jay. If you don't mind. They said to propose, so
If you have a proposal, we'll hear it. You know, but I mean, it's a good exercise too, because it's like, you know, I mean, if you basically propose, I want a Christmas bonus for me, and I get all the money, it's like, you know, it's probably not going to pass. You know, so it's like, how do you format a proposal that's fair for everybody? It's very difficult.
yes.
So we can try to do that.
Any other desires come? Steve?
What about clarification on payroll? Because on the spreadsheet,
Yeah, it looks like we already have payroll here on the meeting topics.
Yeah.
Review. Thank you. Good.
Any other desired outcome?
Clarification on the hard stop. Are we still on hard stop or soft?
Yeah, actually.
Oh yeah, we're still on hard stop until we are not.
And a happy ending.
Any other topics or desired outcomes?
I think it's nice. Maybe there is no other clarification on what is told.
All right, well, I got topics here of like, you know, group team setup or seasonal sessions purpose. We could probably go over that for 5 minutes. Meeting time moon calculation is important. Go over that for like 5 minutes because we had that wrong. Recruitment and hard stop, you know, 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah. Review payroll, 10 minutes. And if we can get to these other things, it'd be like calendar and schedule for the quarter would be good. You know, 5 to 10 minutes. Selling calendar, Christmas bonus proposal. Team equity and network equity would be pretty cool to spend like some time on that. And this would be, you know, 10 to 15 minutes if we did it well. Public launch would be good. And then this is what I really want to focus on is our quarterly goals. And it's good to note that, you know, for the seasonal session, we can pretty much talk about whatever we want to. It's open session. There's no specific purpose. So this is a really good public session as well. Anything else for topics?
Can you able to discuss about preparation for the next meeting, executive meeting, which is March, January, 3rd January?
You mean the board meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be part of our schedule and calendar. So how do we prepare for the board meeting in January 3rd?
And also databasing.
What?
Can you able to discuss about database? Databasing work report.
So it's about client billing?
Yeah, client billing, yes.
So as far as our setup, one of the things that we skip a lot is, I don't actually see it here. Maybe that's why we skip it all the time. So there's basically supposed to be a schedule for the session. So let's see here. Just gonna make sure we add that to our template. So if we do everything correctly, we have our agenda, we get all organized, and then we just check in on the schedule. Desired outcomes, topic review agreement, and schedule for session. Like stop time, etc. Oh, it's going so slow. What happened? Oh, here we go. Stop time, breaks, etc. So we'll cover that in just a second, but do we have agreement on our desired outcomes and topics? Are there any objections to our list of goals and topics here?
No, from my side, I'm okay.
Cool, and I'm thinking it might be nice to skip ahead, skip to goals, quarterly goals, and then come back to the other stuff,
Yeah.
We'll check in when we get there. Cool, so no objections? Sounds good. So then the next thing would be our schedule and session check-in. So the idea would be to, this is one of the things that we don't do very well that we really need to step up on. I think one of the reasons is that we just get so overwhelmed with the client work and the client responsibilities that we don't really focus on how we're supposed to be functioning as an organization. So basically the most important thing is the wrap-up time, and the goal would be to start, get 30 minutes early to start wrap-up, which would be at 11:30, right?
Yeah.
So so this is a job for the timekeepers, and I was hoping to get 3 timekeepers. So Abdul, who else wants to help with time?
Albina, man.
Albina. Anyone else? I'll try to help with time as well.
Joyce.
Okay, cool. Joyce. All right. So you guys need to set an alarm or do something so that at 11:30 we check in on the wrap up, which is very important. Obviously, we could talk for 10 hours straight and it would still not be done. There's so much work to do and so much training to do and everything. So it's about discipline. It's like, how can we just focus in, discipline ourselves, do a 2-hour meeting, check out, and move on to buddy teams. Actually, I think we should even put that into our other work here, is that we could break up into buddy teams if people wanted to. You don't have to. All right. So the other timekeeping is at the bottom of the hour. So bottom of hour, we do our 30-second or even 15-second stretch, right? And then the top of the hour, water and bathroom break. So let's try to remember to do that, because we get really bad at that and we just need to be disciplined. And just be like, look, we're going to take a break and we just have to do it. Okay. So then that's up to the timekeepers. The timekeepers need to make sure that we're tracking the time and that we're actually doing our bottom of the hour breaks and top of the hour breaks so that we can take care of ourselves. So this is all about like stepping back from just the nonstop intense like work, and realizing like we're all human beings. We need to set a framework of our schedule and that we're taking care of each other and that we're actually remembering, that we can't just have like 6-hour meetings during hard stops. It's like, you know, I mean, we can, but we shouldn't have to do that. We should be able to just get what we can done in the 2-hour time frame and then move on and actually get on to recruitment and other essential work. Okay. So I think that covers that. Any other questions on the schedule? Cool. And then afterwards, we might do some buddy teams for people who want to stick around. And then after that, there is at 2, we have the Andromeda session. And then tomorrow is the 8th moon session. Co-chair check-ins, co-chair buddy teams. And everybody's welcome to come to those. You know, it's another global session of the 8th moon session. But I think that's it. Any other thing that's on the schedule? We have the Earth session on January 3rd. I think that's the next like big global session. I guess there's the quarter moon session coming up too. Quarter moon. I don't know when that one is. Cool. So that's the next couple schedules. You know, and so it's good to see. You know, we stop in 2 hours, right? But then it continues on in the Andromeda team, you know, in the 8th moon session, the quarter moon session. So it's not like if we stop now, it's not like everything stops. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So just good to check in on that. All right. So I think we're ready to jump into our topics. Anything else that we want to? All right. So let's move on to the topics. So we have agreement. Okay, so I just want to note here that we're going to skip the team setup. The reason we're skipping the team setup is because the seasonal session is is someone taking notes? It doesn't have any particular part of our structure, right? So our structure goes, our global structure. Let's see if we have our global link up here. Nope. You guys got to link our global group. Steering team, not applicable. No, session, you know, seasonal session's good, but we got to get our global doc here. Let me pull that up. I got it. Here's our global main doc. So this is part of our global network, the seasonal session, and it's a planetary session. It's one of the main primary planetary session. This is the solstice, so it aligns with the Selene calendar, and this would be what we call the southern solstice. So the south of the South Pole is the time where the South Pole is closest to the sun. That makes sense? Or should I mention it again? So the seasonal session comes in between, I believe, the Mercury and Venus session. And it happens about every 90 days, where the Mercury session happens every 44 days. The Venus session happens every 110 days. So, but it's not a planetary session, so it's not part of our structure. So we have the steering team, core team, management team, executive team, super bouncil, membership. So the seasonal session is like an open session. It's a really good session to get the public involved. It's also a good session to just have more team building and, you know, give more time to kind of slow down and, you know, talk to each other and do whatever we need to do. So that's the seasonal session. You guys have any questions about the seasonal session?
Jay, how long does it happen? Like now, when are we going to have the next one?
It's every 90 days. So seasonal sessions involve we're under the seasonal social aligns with Selene group team setup. So we're under the seasonal session purpose right now. Not sure how that happened. All right. So you have the this is the southern solstice, and this is a December, late December. And then you've got the northern solstice, and this is July. All right, and so the southern solstice and northern solstice, like the northern solstice is the date in which the North Pole is closest to the sun. So on the northern hemisphere, it would be summer, but it's not really it's not really the summer or winter, because on the other hemisphere, it's either the opposite, right? So as a global team, we talk about the southern solstice and the northern solstice. So this is the point where the South Pole is closest to the sun. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So from here, you have the spring equinox, and that would be like March. And then you have the fall equinox, and that would be like September. Okay. So these are the 4 seasons, right? They align with the Gregorian and the solar calendar, and do not align with the lunar calendar. But the Selenian calendar is a solar lunar calendar, so it aligns with both, and specifically the Selenian calendar aligns with the solstices. So at the time of the solstice, at this moment now, is when the Earth is most aligned along the meridians, the actual lines of our hours, in relationship to the sun. So the most perfect Selenian calendar alignment is when the new moon falls on one of the 2 solstices, and that is our where we get our half year. Because there's no difference between the southern solstice and the northern solstice, which is why we have a half year between the 2 solstices. So I think that's pretty much it as far as the seasonal session. Are there any questions about the seasonal session? I mean, at some point in the future, we certainly could change the seasonal session to have a specific team and organization within it. But right now it doesn't. It's just open. It's just like an open space to discuss anything we want to. And it's a great place to invite the public as well. Because it's like an open session. And that's why we're skipping the team setup, is because there's no team to set up here. We don't have a specific team that's supposed to be meeting at the seasonal session. But we can still make decisions here, and the decisions are based on, within the global network, are based on the fact that seasonal sessions happen every like 90 days. So they're pretty high level decisions. So there's still a seasonal organizational network that makes decisions within the broader network. So I think that's it on the seasonal session. How are we doing on time? You guys got to be we want to really practice being disciplined on our time.
We have only 1 minute left on that.
Yeah, so we want to be 2 minutes left, 1 minute left at time, Cool. So are there any questions on the seasonal session?
No.
Cool. And I guess the main thing that we'll be doing today is our quarterly goals. So we'll look out at the entire quarter, what's going to happen between now and March, because today is, it's a quarterly session every 90 days. All right. So meeting time calculation. So this is the moon time. Just checking on Zilu. Zilu mentioned that the session was going to start at 7.27%. And that's circle time. So this would be the moon time. This is incorrect. So, and I like to do these heading 3 so that we can keep track of them. Heading 3 is easier. 3. So the correct time right now, it's currently 10.03. 10.03% moon time in the circle. We also do sphere moon time, which is more accurate, but it's fine. So this is now, and we started at about, what was it? It was 9.92 when we started. Okay.
2 minutes are over on that topic, so we have 3 more minutes.
Great, perfect. All right, so this is when we started around 9.92 circle time. So the question is like, how do you calculate these things? So let's just quickly show you guys how to calculate it. So if you come up to, this would be calendars and scheduling. And we're going to go to the Selenium calendar. And again, the Selenium calendar is based off of moon time as opposed to the 24-hour clock. And over time, we'll get used to the moon time. The great thing about moon time is that anywhere in the entire world, all of us can look up at the moon and you can tell the time. And it's called the moon phase. There's a lot of websites and places that have moon phases. So we can look at a couple of websites. Over time, there'll be better websites. I mean, eventually, if we get money to hire coders and things like that, I mean, we're going to be designing our own websites for all of the time calculations. So you can see right now the moon time is 10.1%. Right, so that'll be everywhere across the world. The moon time is 10.1. Right, and it's also a date because it is actually the exact date within the Selenium moon month, and we're currently in the 82nd degree.
We have 1 more minute and 30 seconds on that.
Cool. So I just want to show really quickly how to calculate this. So you go to the moon page here, and this allows you to calculate. So you go to UTC time, and we can see here for Zulu, it's at 4 p.m. UTC. So we go to 4 o'clock p.m., which would be 1600 hours, and just 00 hours, 00 seconds, and then we click find phase. 9.93. Okay. So I'm assuming that he probably put in 4, which would be 4 a.m. and that's why it was off. See, so he put 7.27, right? 7.27. When actually it instead of 04, that would be 4 a.m. It was 4 p.m. So it should be 1600 hours, and then that's 9.93. So the correct moon time for this session across the entire world is 9.93. Okay. Yeah. I was off by 0.1, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. And it really, and you know, the moon calculations are not particularly synchronized across the world. I'm sure if people take on the Selenium calendar, they'll get more and more synchronized. But you can go to different moon phase places, but they're all roughly the same, you know. So it's like, okay, we're gonna have a meeting at 10% circle moon time. We're all basically meet within the same 15 minutes, but they might all be off by just a tiny little bit, but by like 5 minutes or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
But eventually they'll all synchronize, and we'll have better ways of communicating and scheduling based on moon time. But it's pretty cool. So this is the start of this session. All right, and just so you guys have an idea of where we're at right now, we're stopping this at 10.05. 10.05% circle is the stop of this. Any other questions on calculating the moon time? And let me just go ahead and link the moon calc right here. This is the web page that you can calculate moon times. All right, I think we're good. So no questions. I think we need Joseph to check in.
Yeah, Joseph and James to check in. We are at the bottom of our
and James.
So cool. We have just one second to stretch.
Oh, at the bottom of the hour. I got 15 seconds to stretch. So you stand up and stretch.
Stretch.
I'll have a sip of some water as well.
Yep. Please no.
All right. So James and Joseph.
All right, let me start. Today, I was in the session that ended like 20 minutes ago, and I didn't know the existence of this one. Sorry, I'm late, but I'm at 6.5.
James?
Hello, guys. I'm doing fine. I've been spending some time with Thomas a little bit, trying to sort out the issues that he's having with his family. but everything is going okay with me. And I hope that you'll be back soon. But for me, I think I'm a 3 for today.
A 3?
Yeah, I'm pretty much tired of
All right. Well,
yeah, 3.
well, we just want to remind you that our priority is always taking care of each other. So, you know, if you need to go, you're not required to be here at all. You know, it's like if you need to sleep or take care of yourself, a 3 is pretty low. I'd say anything under a 5 is like, you know, take care of yourself and come back when you're feeling better. But you're welcome to stay here as well, if that's what because some people, they like to work to get their mind off things, you know. Cool. But thank you for being here, James. It's a pleasure. All right. So I think we're ready for recruitment. Hard stop.
Good.
And is there anything we can do to help you out, James, or are you just, you know, doing your thing?
No. The reason for saying that I'm a 3 is because I feel a bit tired, but
Yeah.
everything is going fine. I've been able to help Thomas to sort a lot of things out, and everything is actually going back to normal. So no need to worry.
Great. All right. So we're going to talk about the recruitment and the hard stop. So, I mean, overall, my interpretation is that we're making a lot of progress, but it's still eluding us as far as like really taking it over that finish line. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. We can go over the different sextants briefly. Let's pull up the hard stop update sheet. Find it here. So basically, the most progress. The most progress that's been made has been with the local SFA. So with local SFA, we have Akash, Eva or Ava, can't remember. We've got Divya, and we also have Melinda, and there's also this guy Jeff, right? So all of these people, we have 5 people that we're actively trying to recruit. It's important to note, if we recruit all of them, it would be like, you know, as much as, you know, $7,000 to $10,000 per month.
We still have a new person there, Jay. Rank higher than Akash and.
Well, Akash and Divya are already not in the public rankings, like not in not the public rankings. They're not in the they're not in the public rankings yet. You know, so Akash and Divya are already out of the public rankings. So the question is, we don't know about Melinda, but she actively wants to get involved. We don't know about Jeff yet. But Eva is definitely in the public rankings, okay? So if you think about it, the way that we would do it is we're gonna just recruit whoever we can. If we have to pay $10,000 in a month, we're just not worried about it, because there is easily a month of work for 5 people to do, because we haven't hired anyone locally for like 5 months. And I'm gonna make it really clear to them that, look, you know, the global team controls the budget, you know, not the local team. You know, this is a temporary one-time thing. When the work is done, when we get through all the paperwork, we get the work done, there's no more work to do. You know what I mean? So it's like they need to focus on getting the paperwork done. And then they're also going to need to focus on helping with the local events and the investment communication. So if they can help raise money, they can keep their jobs. But if they don't help raise money, we just can't keep them around. So we need to continue to recruit locally so we can recruit people who are at the highest level of the public rankings so that we can keep the prices down. That make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm pretty confident we should be able to get that all done. It's a little hard during the holidays, but you know, I think by January we will be in really good shape for our local recruitment. The 180-degree sextant, you know, Monty is still a question mark. We also have Asif, and he, you know, is helping a little. You know, so anyways, I mean, we do need someone else. Like, who else, right? It would be good to get someone else. So this is still kind of concerning. Not as bad as SFA. We have a lot of people at SFA, but we haven't had any final commitment, and we could use some help there as well. So I think that's pretty much it for me. 120-degree sextant. There's a, you know, one person interested, and then obviously there's Jay, me, but we definitely could use more there as well.
We have Manzi.
5 minutes on the topic, 10 more minutes.
Manzi.
And message from Manzi. He's not feeling well. He told me to inform the rest. He's not feeling well. That's why he's not joining the session.
That's fine. Great. Okay, cool. So, I mean, everything's moving forward. We have Tatiana, 15 hours for 1,300. If she ranks high enough, then I think it's fine to add her in if she's already in the rankings. Does she rank high enough?
She's rank number 2.
Number 2, yeah. So I would just automatically add her, bump whoever's lower down. I think we want to generally condense our public rankings and budget because we have to subtract Akash and Divya from the budget because they're already going to be in it. Yeah. But this is fine. If Tatiana fits, we don't even have to approve it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So if you guys want to go over the whole local budget, we can. Also, we're doing the HR budget so we can get people paid their back pay and advances. So if we come to the budget doc, I want to make sure everyone understands that if I open up the recruitment budget doc, come on, recruitment budget doc, that there should be all 6 recruitment sextant budgets, right? So right now when we come here, we see the priority budgets, which is fine. I mean, it makes sense that we might prioritize some of these budgets over other ones. We have the 120-degree sextant west. We've got the 180-degree sextant. We have the local SF Bay. So technically there should be at least 7 budgets, and there is only 3. And there should be 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So so that needs to all be presented to the HR board, so that they have all of the budgets all clearly organized on the doc and are nice and neat and pretty. All right. Cool. So any other questions or comments or things to mention about the recruitment and the hard stop?
I don't understand about 7 budget that you said.
So here, let me
What
give
about
another
the second
example.
budget?
After the hard stop, what I'm going to propose, or I think even better than after the hard stop, to proposal to end the hard stop. Like I think you guys have this idea that, oh, the hard stop is over and woohoo, recruitment will be done, but it's not done, right? It's like this is the minimal recruitment that we need to do, right? We need at least 1 person for a sextant, 1 person for 120 degrees west, 1 person for 120 degrees local SFA, right? So we need a minimum of 3 people pretty much. right? So
2
so
minutes
getting
left for the 10-minute mark.
okay, yeah. So the minimum of 3 people is not good enough, right? So what I'm thinking, the proposal to end the hard stop is that we set a date of, like, I don't know, you know, the next season, for example. It could be the spring equinox. So in you know, 3 months, and that each sextant will have 5 people. You know, so it's like the recruitment can't stop, right? So all the sextants should actively be recruiting, you know, always. And the fact that we're mainly focusing on the priority recruitment is just because it's so far behind. I mean, it's been 8 months and we still don't have anyone locally helping, and that's a huge problem. So I feel like once we get this initial round done, that we need to really push it up and be getting within 3 months, having 5 people on each sextant team. And that includes getting people to work, you know, doing our public launch, and what we call outreach recruitment. Outreach recruitment is where we no upfront pay. So this would be like volunteers and equity only. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to have all the staff, and then we're also going to have all the people who are going to be collaborating and participating without pay, right, with equity or in tokens. And so eventually we'll have more people working without upfront pay than there are people working for upfront pay. Because I mean, there's no way. There's so much work to do across the entire world that we can't pay everybody, especially right now when our budgets are so tight. Maybe in the future could pay more people, but there's always going to be more people involved than there are people getting paid. Cool. So I think we're done here, and our goal overall is helping people start their own businesses and bringing in their own money so that they can get paid out of the owner budgets, and then it doesn't take money away from the network. All right. So any other questions on recruitment?
Yeah, Jay, I have a question. How much members can be hired on sextant? How maximum members? How many?
There's no maximum number of members. Like, each team can have up to 27 people, but we can have infinite numbers of teams within each sextant. And it's just the budget, you know. It's just like the less people are willing to work for, the more people we can hire, right? You know, so again, you know, you only need one paid staff person, right? You have one paid staff person who's the quote volunteer coordinator, and they coordinate all the volunteers, right? We don't really do volunteers. We do equity only, right? Like, everyone's always getting some type of value and tokens and everything. But the point is that the majority of the work that's gotten done in the past and that will get done in the future is unpaid. Does that make sense? No upfront pay, at least. So there's no maximum number of people who can join. Like, we have 8 billion people as part of our network if every single person in the world joined. Does that make sense?
Yes.
1 minute before the time.
Does that answer your question, Abdul?
Yes, and I got my answer.
Yeah, and another way to think about it is that, like, let's say you have, you know, 10 people on a team. The goal would be that 5 of them would be paid and 5 would be unpaid, right? So you would have this sort of half and half model to start with. And then eventually you might even have 5 people getting paid and 15 people who are unpaid, right? But the way you look at it is that 90% of the work is getting done by the people who are paid, right? The people who are not paid, they're going to be working like 5 hours a month or 10 hours a month, or they're just not going to be reliable, right? They'll start something, but they won't finish it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, which is similar to how we are right now. You know, there's a lot of things that people start across the world, even when we're paying you to do it. but you don't actually finish it. So we still have to finish it here, but it's like, you know, as you guys get better and better at it, you'll be able to start understanding how to really finish things. But then you work with a volunteer. It takes a lot of time to train the volunteer, a bunch of work to try to get them focused to do the work. And then they don't do the work anyways, you know, but they do help and they support the network and they build the public accountability and they build the structure and a bit. And so every time we take on a volunteer, it's extra work, but it's helping people participate in the transformation of our world. We can't do it by ourselves. Does that make sense? So it's in our best interest to take the time and energy to work with other people and train them and help them be involved, even though we know that they're not necessarily going to do the majority of the work, right? So, but they will put in the majority of the time, right? Yeah. So overall, there will be those people. There's going to be a few people who will step up, who are just amazing. But the majority of people are just going to be really busy with their own lives. You know, it's going to be hard for them to really get involved. Cool. Any other questions about recruitment? No other questions? I think we're good. Should we move on to the next one?
Yes.
Cool. And we can always come back to recruitment. Also, recruitment, you know, relates to everything else. So, questions on payroll.
Yes.
So, what's the question on the payroll?
The first question on how Nelly calculate the bonuses for senior managers.
Okay, well, the first thing is that I'm thinking about changing the calculations on the senior manager bonuses, and I think Nelly is very close to how I was talking about doing it. Currently, right now, our senior manager bonus pool is equal to $3,000 per month. Does everyone understand that?
Yes.
All right, and that equals 6 sextants. So if you do $3,000 divided by 6 sextants, 3,000 divided by 6 is 500. Exactly. So that's where we get our 500 number. Some sextants choose to go down to the 400, right? Because that we allow you to go down to 400 if you want to try to save a little money, right? So from here, you end up with $250 per. Oops. I have bills to pay. X. All right, $250 per month for a half shift. A half shift is equal to 3 5-hour shifts plus 1 3-hour shift, which is a total of 18 hours. Does anyone not understand that? This is the maximum a single shift manager can get in bonus hours. So if you do more than 18 hours of senior manager shifts, you don't get any additional bonus. Okay? Everyone understand that? Does everyone understand?
Yeah.
So 18 hours is the maximum bonus, and that's 3 5-hour shifts and 1 3-hour shift. The 3-hour shift is the overlap, and the overlap is where you do the check-in for the main weekly session agenda. The same as the co-chairs check-in at the midweek check-in. The co-chairs plan for the quarter moon and the new moon, the full moon sessions, okay? For the global sessions, and this is where the main sextant managers plan for their weekly sessions. All right. So the next thing is that you have, if you take these 2 shifts, right, at 18 hours each, you have 18 times 2 is 36 hours. 18 times 2 is 36 hours. 36 hours. Right? So, and the point is that it doesn't matter how many people who help take these shifts. it's still 36 hours of work. Does that make sense?
I'd say for the 36 is for 2 people for the 2 senior managers.
Yeah,
every week.
so it's 5
Yes,
hours a
one-
day. It's 5 hours a day times 6 days. So that's 30
Yeah,
plus the 3 hours each plus 6. Yeah, it's 6 hours. Yeah, that's it's 36 hours for 2 people.
Yeah, 18 plus 18.
Yeah,
I
but
get it.
but you can split it up between 3 people or 4 people or 5 people. Does that make sense? But but there's no additional bonus. It's still $500 for the entire sextant. Okay? So basically the easiest way to calculate this to make it the simplest for everybody and make sure that it's fair, we're not losing money on it, is as such. So you take $500 and you divide it by 36 hours and it equals the maximum, which is 500 divided by 36 is divided by 4, right? You have to divide by 4. It's $3.47, and you have to divide by 4 weeks. 4 weeks. So it equals to $3.47 per hour.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does this mean? It means a couple things. One, it means that if you're making less than $3.47 per hour, then your entire 100% of the bonus is covered, right? That's the first thing it means. The second thing it means is that if you're making basically $7 per hour, then you're getting 50% upfront bonus and 50% back pay bonus, okay? Third, if you only do senior manager shifts, you still get paid 100% of your pay based on your monthly rate, right? So for example, if you think about Monte's working for like $20 an hour, right? So the $3.47 it's not even like 10% of her pay. So what we're hiring her to do is literally to do the senior manager shift. Does that make sense?
5 minutes left for the topic.
So when Monty does the senior manager shift, she will get paid $20 an hour for her senior manager shift, right? If she just does the 18 hours that she's scheduled to do. All right, so then the only other thing I'm going to mention, and then we'll open up to questions, is that our goal is within the next few weeks to month to increase the $3.47 up to $5 per hour, right? So if you think about it, $5 per hour, it would be times 36 per sextant per week times 4 times 6 is $4,320. $4,320 per month for senior sextant manager bonuses. And then that would be an increase of $1,320. So as we increase the senior manager bonus size, we'll be able to increase the percentage of the hourly rate that people are getting in relationship to their senior sextant manager positions to make them, better bonuses, right? But our budget is tight, so we have to realize that that does take away from the rest of our budget. But we might be able to slip in additional, $1,300 as the goal to do that soon and get it up to $5 an hour. But yeah, we'll just continue to increase that. Again, if you're making less than $3.40 an hour, you would just get your total hourly rate. You wouldn't get you wouldn't make $5 an hour just because you're doing the senior sextant manager position. Okay. You would get your normal rate, whatever that is agreed upon, but you would get paid upfront for all the extra hours. All right, question from Albina and other people.
Okay, I was concerned on number 3.
Number 3, if you only do senior manager, you get paid 100%. Yeah, so the example here is Monty, right? So Monty, we're paying her for $20 per hour. $20 an hour for, I don't know, 20 hours per week or whatever. So if she just does her senior manager shifts for 18 hours per week, she gets paid, 100% full rate at $20 an hour. That make sense? Because there's no, that's her main work, right? That's the work that she's doing. So there's no requirement for anyone to do any more than their senior manager shifts, right? But if you're the senior manager, you got to do the senior manager shift. And if you work additional hours, you can still get bonus hours for the additional hours that you work beyond your senior manager shift, okay? But the bonus is still set at $3.47 is the maximum bonus we can pay. Or otherwise, we go over the $3,000 per month that we budgeted, you know, which is a big problem. If we go over the $3,000 per month that we budgeted on the bonuses, then we end up in the red, in negative.
2 minutes left.
Yeah. So the easiest way to calculate is you just take your total number of bonus hours, you would multiply it by this number after you get paid for all of your normal hour work. So again, if Monty only did senior exit manager, she would get paid for her normal hour work as a senior exit manager. Okay. Any other questions?
Okay, it's a concern now. If that is the case now, we can't even understand what Nelly is calculating for senior manager on the payroll.
Well, I saw Nelly's calculations. I could pull them up. Basically, she just took the $500, right? And then she took you have two positions. So you have two positions, and so it's $250 each. And you take $250.
1 minute left.
And you divide it by 4 weeks, and it's $62.50. Divided by 4 weeks equals $62.50, right? And then she multiplied that by the number of hours that people worked each week. So her calculations are almost the same as the ones that I did. Some are a little higher or lower, but generally speaking, the calculations that I do are more exact and they're a little higher, and they're equal for everybody. So it's the same for everybody, which makes it easier for the calculations to be done. Okay.
So I now remember that week we worked for 5 hours, all people. So how can you calculate that?
Well, you just do 5 hours times $3.47. So 5 times 347 would be $17.37.
Yeah, 17.
Time is up for the topic.
But she did not did it that way.
All right. Well, I'm saying that you can do it that way. Like if you want to update it and do it that way, then that's perfectly fine. At $200, you would divide that by 36 divided by 4, and you get, no, that's not right. 200 divided by 36 divided by 4 weeks. Huh. Odd.
So 100 divided by 18.
Oh no, it's 400. 400 divided by 36 divided by 4 is 277. Yeah, that's correct. So $200 is equal to $2.77 per hour. All right.
Okay. Is she now using 200 because of some people last month they borrow $100 from 500? She's using the for 400 now. Then again, we did not cover that 400 for this month. We just work only for 5 hours. Are we still going to use the calculation for 400?
I mean, I'm not really concerned about it. Like if again, bonuses are not exact. So if you did 5 hours times 3.47, you could do like a $20 bonus, you know? Like put a $20 bonus. Be fine.
$20.
Okay. Another concern.
Jay, can you check the calculation that I paste in this today's doc? Just go down.
Down?
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the calculations that she did. So 4.5 hours. I mean, I'm assuming this is 5 hours with a break, right? Again, you get the full bonus for all the 5 hours, including the break, because the break is supposed to be on call. And so be 5 times 3 whatever it was, 47, which is 1735. 1735, which is basically close enough to $20, you know? So that's that one. 3.5 hours. 3.5 times 3.47 is 1214. 1214, which you can just go up to like $15, you know? So the point is just like, you know, just be reasonable on it, and it should be perfectly fine. Okay.
2
Yeah.
minutes over.
Okay, are you done, Abdul?
Yes, I'm clear about this bonus, senior section manager bonus. So I have a question for the output bonus.
Okay, output bonus.
Yeah.
If I think before output we need to get clarified on Albina has a question, then we go to output. Because I also have a question about output.
Okay, so let's see. Are there any more questions on senior assistant manager?
Yeah. For example, like for the last 2 weeks, I had issue with my time, the calculation of my work hours. I was paid less on senior manager. Now Nelly says that it's going to the back pay. So I wanted clarification from you to understand that. For the
Either way, okay. So let's say you're scheduled to work 20 hours per week, right? And you work 18 hours of senior sextant manager work, right? Plus 10 hours of regular work hours, right? That would equal 38 hours of work, right? So if you have 20 hours of upfront base pay, right? That equals, already paid, right? So, that's 28 hours. So that means this would means that the maximum possible bonus is equal to 8 hours.
Jay, for my case, I always attain my work hours.
You always what?
Hours. I always attain my hours. For the past 2 weeks, I didn't have less hours. I have above 20 hours minus the senior manager.
Okay, well, let's just take a look at it. So which one are we talking about?
The week 1 and week 2.
Of the 5th degree? Or 5th degree, 5-degree moon month? Last month?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So let's open the new payroll payments verification spreadsheet and check out Albina and see
5 minutes over.
what we can figure out here. Cool, but I think we're fine over time here. I mean, this is important. This is making sure people are getting paid correctly and making sure the payroll gets all done for the holiday. Who wants to do payroll today? Who's ready? All right.
We'll help you, Jay.
So let's do a new payroll payments verification. We're coming down over here to find the 5th degree. It means week 1 and 2. So this is the full moon payroll for the 5th degree East Moon month. And let's make it bigger. And we're going to check out Albina. And then we're going to pop open the work tracking and pay one as well. So your main question is about this $30?
Yeah.
And also Joycey, they got the same case with Joycey.
All right, so we're going to the 5th degree East Moon month for week 1 and week 2. And Albina is worked 31.5 hours here, 36.5 there. Huh. I think it might have just been based on the fact that all of these hours were incorrect, right? That people weren't correctly adding up their hours. Does that make sense? So maybe we need to update it, but I think it was that because before you guys weren't putting the correct number of hours here, it was like way lower. Right? So if you do 17.5 hours times 2 is 35 hours minus 31.5 minus 36.5. It would be a full 33 hours of bonus. So then if we look at your senior manager bonus, Albina's 13 hours here. And 13 hours there would be 26 hours of bonus plus the 1 hour of output, right? And the output takes precedent. So we do the output bonus hour first, which we did. And so then you end up with 26 hours times the $3.47 is $90. So that's what I would, and then if you pay you 30, then there's 60 additional dollars. So with the new model, it actually goes up a little bit based on the actual number of hours. Okay.
Yeah.
So that it's exactly correct. So what I would do on that is that I would come over here to the current payroll, to Albina, and then that should actually be $60. And this would be from past month. And so that was just a problem from the fact that the timesheets were not being done correctly with the senior manager bonus hours, right? You guys were not adding up all of your hours, okay? So whoever did the payroll, like for example, Nelly did the payroll based on the numbers that were actually inputted, which were incorrect. So who was the other person? Joyce?
Joyce.
Is the only other one?
Joyce.
Okay, let's do Joyce real quick. So for Joyce, we're gonna start with here. Here's Joyce, so it currently says $20. And then we come up here, Joyce. So she has 5 hours here. It's 10 hours, okay? And we do, Joyce's weekly is 20 hours a week. So we do 20 times 20, which is 40 hours. Whoops, 20 plus 20 is 40 hours. In the first week, she worked 27.25. 27.25 hours. The second week, she worked 26.75, which is negative 14 hours. So the maximum bonus she could get would be 14 hours. And we don't have any other bonus. So the 10 hours fits into that. So then you do 10 hours times the 3.47 is $35. According to my calculation, right? So the first thing I did is I just calculated, make sure that the bonus fits within her time frame, which it did. And then the second thing I did was calculate her total bonus hours. And I would also double check to make sure she's not making less than 347, but I don't think anyone is except for Zilu. So if you go here, you can check she's making $4 an hour. Cool. So I think it's just Zilu, maybe James, a couple people, Abigail, Shohag, right? That you would multiply it by less than the 347. Okay. So I think that's it on that. So then I just come over here. There's 20 already, so it would be a difference of $15. So you would subtract $20 already, so it's $15 that I would add over here. And it's correct already. And then I would write, past senior manager. Okay. And then the co-chair total is correct as well. We confirmed that.
Yeah. Jay, I think on co-chair I have 6 hours total.
And?
But for the 6 hours, how much bonus I can get?
What do you mean? Are you saying it's not correct?
Yeah, I think it's not correct.
But this is not correct? Who calculated it?
Yeah. So my hourly rate is 5.68 and total hour is 6 hours.
Yeah, but wasn't one of them in the middle of the night?
Yeah, one of the middle of the night.
So let's just say it was 3 and 3. Let's do an example. If you have 3 and 3, you have 3 hours times, what is your hourly rate? Like $5 an hour, you said? So we've got Abdul is $5.68 an hour. So 3 hours times $5.68 is $17.04 times 2 because it's the middle of the night. So it's possible just that original 3 hours is $35 plus an additional 3 hours. So if you divide by 2, it's actually going to be times 3, and your total is $50. So
no, I have 2 hours as midnight, and 2 hours is normal. So for this midnight 2 hours, it will be 4. So 4 plus 2, it will be total 6.
Okay, well let's just excuse me. Let's just do it detailed so that everyone can see how to do the co-chair bonus. So co-chair bonuses are the only position that does the full bonus of everything. Eventually, our goal is that every position gets full bonus on everything because it's just overtime hours. It's hours you should get paid for, and you don't have to do you shouldn't have to do back pay. Well, once our budgets are more stabilized, the goal is that back pay will be a thing of the past. So, co-chair bonus for Abdul. So week 1 was 2 hours at 2x night work. Bonus, right? That's overtime. So it's overtime because it's in the middle of the night. So that's at $5.68 per hour times 2 is equal to 5.68 times 2 is $22.72. Then we have week 2. So the week 2 is 3 hours, 1x regular, right?
Week 2 has 2 hours. 2 hours only, yeah.
I thought you said it was 6 hours total. It's just 2 hours. 4 hours total.
Yeah.
So total hours is 4 hours, right? And then this would just be the normal 5.68 times 2. 11.36. Right, so you have a total of 4 hours of bonus work. So then you would go into your thing here. I believe we're talking about the first 2 weeks of the 82nd degree east, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you come under Abdul, it should say. Okay, so first of all, you guys want to make sure you're writing what your bonuses are for. So that's a problem off the top, right? So this needs to say how many hours of senior executive manager bonus, how many hours of co-chair bonus, right? It should actually be detailed, right? So you would be like 12 hours of co-chair bonus.
Which one is already done?
Yeah.
What?
So, yeah,
There is no co-chair with
this is,
one.
yeah, so this is week 3 and week 4 bonus, senior co-chair bonus, week 3 and week 4.
Week 3 and week 4. We're doing week 1 and week 2.
No, week 1 and 2.
Yeah, so week 1 and 2 already we already paid. So
no, we have not already paid. The current payroll is the end of 5th degree. Oh, we're doing end of 5th degree. Okay. I thought we just had the full moon. No, we just had the new moon. Okay. All right. So you're correct. So we're going back over here to 5th east degree, week 3, week 4. Okay.
Yeah.
So come down here and we have 4 hours co-chair bonus. This is good. And then over here we have 2 hours co-chair bonus. So why is it 4 and 2 when we just calculated 2 and 2?
I think Abdul multiply that one plus overtime and put it.
Yeah,
as
never put overtime in hours. It's just you just do it. You just note that it's overtime because it's a different value system. Okay. So this is 2 hours. 2 hours at 2x night. Okay. Make sense? Perfect. Okay, so then that looks correct. So then we come up here. You can see Abdul's supposed to be working, where's Abdul? 22 hours a week. And so we would just multiply it. 22 times 2 is 44 hours. The first week he worked 37.25. The second week he worked 35.5. So you can see here that he's can get as much as 28 hours of bonus time. Okay? So let's say his co-chair time was within his normal hours and he worked no bonus time, right? What would happen at that point is if you do the calculations and there was no bonus time, the 4 hours of bonus time, so of 28 is good, right? So that's fine. So basically that would be with no bonus time, Abdul would still get the 2x night, which would equal $11 whatever. Okay, does that make sense? So for the two times night, he would still get paid for the working in the middle of the night as the co-chair, and so he would still get that $11 even if he hadn't worked any bonus hours at all. Okay, so but because he worked all the bonus hours, he gets the full amount, and the co-chair bonus would come second to, so the bonus bonus priorities, the top priority bonus always is output and deliverables. Okay, this is always number one. So you always do the output deliverables first. The number 2 would be co-chair, and number 3 would be senior sextant manager. Why? Can you guys think of why we would order the bonuses in that order?
Because the most important thing is you need to get the work done.
Yes.
And produce.
Exactly. And this also has the highest value. Right? So when you get the work done and you're actually getting your output bonus, you're getting full pay. Co-chairs is also, pretty much full pay if bonuses exist. And then senior sextant manager is only partial pay. Partial pay, depending on how much your pay is, okay?
Yeah.
So you always want to get your output bonus first for all your bonus hours, and then if you have bonus hours left over, then you would do your senior sextant manager bonus because you would get paid more. Okay, so I think this is done. It's $33, right? So we do 22 plus 11. It's like $35. That's what I calculate. The total bonus for
$5. Cool.
So does that make sense, Abdul?
Yeah, it's okay.
Maybe someday we'll go to like exact pennies and everything for our bonuses, but for now, we're not really worried about it. Okay, so I think
next is about output.
Output. All right. So what's the question on the output?
I check on Nelly. Nelly, she does not meet the target hours. She has like less than 64 that she need to do. Then
all right, let's just do Nelly. Let's just do Nelly. All right, so Nelly worked week 3, week 4. Nelly is working 16 hours a week. All right, so we would do 16 hours times 2 is 32 hours. The first week she worked 16.5. 16.5. The second week she worked 14.25. 14.25. So she didn't work her full hour, so she can't receive any bonus hours. She's already paid for all of her hours that she worked, according to this. Right? So I would agree that this should be 0.
I think she was also given a bonus.
Say what?
Let me see. Yeah, she was given a bonus of $25 for that week 1 and 2.
We're working on.
I think
we're working
Lucy,
on
I
week
think on second
3 and 4.
Output is good.
Okay. Week 3 and 4, I think that is 68. She put 68. That's why I was wondering. I think when you said unless you have a bonus back pay hours for you to get output.
Yeah,
I think you said deliverable and output is different. When you calculate for deliverable, no matter you did not attend the bonus hours, you can still get the bonus.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, so it's like we're paying people to do work. If they didn't work above and beyond what we're already paying them, there's no bonus, right? We already paid Nelly for the work that she was already paid to do, right? So why would we give her a bonus for something that she didn't do? She didn't do anything above and beyond what she was already supposed to be paid for, right? So there's no bonus to pay her. And it's great that she did output, but output is not the definition of, like the idea that we would pay people to never ever do any work would be ridiculous. Does that make sense? So the idea of paying people bonuses for output is that if you go above and beyond and you take extra time to actually finish the work that you're working on, we'll pay you that time. In addition to that, our policy is that every single person who is working back pay, that back pay time needs to be output. So the output bonuses and the back pay policy are the same thing. So it's very important to understand that. So let's just really quickly review our back pay and output policy. When all back pay work should be output. All output is upfront paid instead of back pay. Right? So the idea is so let's look at Asif, for example. Asif Iqbal. It says that last month he generated $450 of back pay, right? We just voted on that the other day. Everyone remember that?
Yeah.
So the question for Asif Iqbal is, what was his output, right? You can't just work thousands of dollars of back pay and do nothing. Does that make sense? That's against our policy, right? It's like if you're going to be working back pay hours and basically bringing down our budget, I mean, there's actual money, that's actual value that we eventually expect to either pay or that we would turn into equity, right? So it's real money as far as we're concerned. You got to be working. You got to be doing something. You can't just randomly spend more time at meetings and do all this stuff and do a bunch of assigned work but not complete anything, right? So just especially during when we're getting into a hard stop and everything, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So my question to Asif Iqbal would be, what was his output? Why was he not paid this last month? Because he should have had output. The fact that he was accumulating $500 in back pay, twice his rate, with no output would be very concerning, and it would be against our policies. Okay?
Yes.
Cool. So, and again, we're going to ask Asif and everybody, Nelly, everybody who wants to get their advances in back pay, right? The HR board's going to want to see the output, right? That's going to be a direct question that people are going to need to show. The HR board is not going to be like, oh yeah, of course we're going to just throw out all this money. It's like, no, they're going to want to know what work got done. So don't think that it's a done deal just yet. So
okay, Jay, concerning that question about output for back pay, how can we know? Because as we have a lot of back pay some time back, how will the HR know that? Can we go back and indicate this was my output?
I don't understand. What?
I'm asking for those people who need to maybe propose for their advance or their output. And before, when we put when we are working for back pay, we did not, most of the time we don't indicate our output, the hours that we work for output. We're going to be given that output. And how can HR know that? Can we go back and indicate that is the
Yes.
output I did this month?
Yeah,
Last
the
previous
answer is yes. Everyone can go back and log all of their output. Yes. Yeah. So you should be tracking all of your output and deliverables and the work that you do overall. And then you should be going back and we should be able to create these output reports for each worker, and based on our evaluation reporting and everything of what people's accomplishments were over time, right? So, but I mean, it's something you need to worry about when you log back pay. The back pay is technically still separate from output. I mean, you work those hours, even if there wasn't output, it's still hours and it's still back pay. But it's against our policy. If people were accumulating $500 of back pay every single month and having no output, it would raise red flags, and we would be like, no, like you can't do that. We're gonna, reduce your hours and or fire you or whatever. It's just not acceptable, right? So it's like, if you go over a few hours, it's fine, but tripling your pay with no work being completed is a problem. Does that make sense? So just
Yes.
be reasonable. I mean, everyone knows whether or not they're getting something done. If you don't know if you're getting something done, you're not getting something accomplished. It's that simple. If you're not sure if you're getting it accomplished and accomplishing the goal of the responsibility, it's not happening, right? So, and a lot of people don't even know what the goal is, right? It's like if you have a responsibility and you are organizing your responsibility properly, the first thing at the top of your responsibility organizing link or document is the goal that you're trying to achieve with your responsibility, right? Then you go over all the tasks and how to accomplish the goal. But in the end, the goal can be accomplished many, many different ways. The tasks and the training that we do is just one way of accomplishing that goal, right? The goal in and of itself, the tasks don't necessarily directly accomplish the goal. So if you don't know what the goal is, you're already missing the whole point, right? And if you're not accomplishing the goal, then you have no output, okay?
Okay.
And if you don't know if you have a responsibility and you don't know what the goal is, you need to ask. That's the first thing that you should do. Otherwise, you're just working. You're not accomplishing anything, all right?
Yes.
It's time for our wrap up.
Oh, wow. We're already at wrap up. So quick. Okay. So were there any other questions on output bonus?
Yes, now that which one is the really output bonuses that you can pay people? Because I indicate there when I was working on public ranking, they said that's not an output. Can we know exactly the task that we can count for output?
Okay, well, do you want me to do you, Lucy? Or Albina?
Yes. Yes, Lucy.
All right, let's do Lucy. So if we come here, we go to Lucy. Here's Lucy right here. We see that Lucy has 20 hours a week, so we do 20 times 2, which gives us 40 hours per week of work. We go to week 3. The first week was 33.25, so we do 33.25. So 6 hours left, and next is 37 minus 37. So Lucy would have a maximum of 30 hours of bonus possibility, okay? Right, so that would be the maximum amount of bonus that Lucy could get. So then we come down here, we look at Lucy. We have output of 1 hour. One hour exit reimbursements and 0.5 hours client billing. So client billing is obviously not output because nothing has been accomplished with client billing. Okay, so that's like an easy one. It would be 0.5 hours for updating the exit recruitments, which is fine. 1 hour on public ranking, 1 hour on sending email to new recruits, following up on new recruits, 0.5 minutes on midweek check. Okay, so the public ranking is one thing that's kind of concerning because the public ranking is not done. It's not getting done. It's not done. There's a lot to do there. And there's a lot of different aspects of public ranking that could be considered. So working on the public rankings for an hour is an output unless you completed something. Like what did you actually finish, right? So I would say this is 1.5, so it's 2 hours total output, right? So then we would come, we could say here, 2 1.5 hours, and then over here would be 2 hours. I mean 1.5 hours. So the whole total is 2 hours of output, and it fits within the 30 hours. And then we do the full pay, so it would be Lucy is $5 an hour, so we do 2 times 5 is $10. So that's what I would calculate for Lucy, is it would be $10 of bonus output. You can make it yellow and double check. So that would be Lucy, and then if we move on to your other bonuses, which is the senior assistant manager for week 3, 5 hours here, 0 hours there. So there'll be an additional 5 hours at 3.47. Would be not correct. 3.47 times 5 is the $20, right? Yeah. So we were saying that was $20 there. Yeah. So that's what I would get, is $30 for bonuses for Lucy. So once you get used to it, it can go pretty fast. You know, you can do it in like, you can do 2 people in 5 minutes. So like, 2-3 minutes per person. Yeah. Does that make sense, Lucy? And I mean, you can double check this, but overall, output has to actually be output. If you're not sure if you're doing output, then ask, find out what the output is. That's the whole point of output, is that if you don't even know what your goal is to accomplish for the output, then you're not really doing the work that we're asking you to do. Yeah. But anyways, this is good. And working on recruiting is super. Unless we actually recruited somebody and finalized the recruitment and actually did it, was it output? Does that make sense? Like, recruitment output's very difficult because you actually have to recruit someone and train them and onboard them and get them involved to have actual output. But anyways, we'll let that slide because we're in the hard stop, and any time spent on recruitment is like super important, right? And it was only like an hour or 2. Cool. So I think that answers that question. Anything else?
No.
I think I think for Nelly, Jorge, and Jillu, these 3 members not complete their regular hours. So that's these 3 members. They have no outputs, I think.
Great. Yeah. So just make it 0. We confirmed that Nelly had no output.
So last time I started night, I put here 0, and Nelly and Miguel maybe updated this value. But all these 3 members I put 0 because they not cover their regular hours.
Cool. That's great. Any other questions?
Do you confirm on Miguel if he covered his regular hours?
Yeah, Miguel probably did go over. The main question is whether he had actual output, since he's a new worker, but he's doing pretty good stuff. We're really happy to have Miguel.
Yeah.
So I think we're good. Any other questions about output, bonus calculations, or anything else related to bonuses and payroll? But overall, you guys are doing really good with payroll. Eventually, the goal is to just, have 3 people work on it, get it done really quick, boom, 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 in a couple hours, and then get everyone paid in a couple hours. I mean, we could do the entire payroll, get everyone paid in like 1 day, in one 24-hour period. That's the goal. We want to get our payroll organized. Payroll is the #1 priority for this month. Getting our payroll as organized as our clients' payroll, so that it's on time, professionally done. So the main things that are missing in payroll, in my perspective, is main missing component of payroll is a final schedule. So what are the key things for the schedule? 2 to 5 hours for buddy teams working on time, hours, and pay spreadsheet, right? So that needs to get updated. Then you have 2 to 5 hours buddy teams working on, we'll say 2 to 5 hours plus, since you guys still have a lot of training to go there, on the payroll verification spreadsheet. And then 2 to 3 hours on buddy teams working on running payroll and real time. So unless these 3 things are scheduled in actual buddy teams, they're not going to happen. So you could schedule in one day, the first 5 hours are making sure all the timesheets and pay is updated. The second 5 hours is doing the payroll verification. The third 5 hours is running the payroll. So it all can happen in one day if each of the subsequent buddy teams gets the work done to allow the next buddy team to finish it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You know, more realistically, this would be like day 1. You know, this would be day 2, and this would be day 3, right? So then we could complete the payroll in 3 days. You know, so maybe this is at the end of the month. This would be the 29th day of the selling calendar. This would be the first day of the new moon. And then this would be the second day, right? And then boom, payroll would be done by the second day of the month. Okay, that would be your ideal scenario. Does that make sense? But unless we schedule those buddy teams with the goal of those buddy teams accomplishing that specific work, it's not going to happen. Cool. All right, check. Any other questions? Say again?
I will complete the schedule today, Jay, or tomorrow.
Cool, yeah. Any other questions? All right, I think we're good then. So let's practice a little bit of wrap up. The first thing of wrap up would be to review what didn't get done in the agenda. So we would look at our priorities. Where is our priorities here? Whoops. So we did payroll. So our quarterly goals. So our quarterly goals was the next thing that we were going to do that we didn't do. And then we were going to go over our plan for the quarter, our selling calendar, Christmas bonus, team equity, network equity, public launch, client billing. Okay. So now that we checked that out, the next question would be, so what we would call this section in our meeting would be a schedule and time check for wrap up, right? We'll go ahead and make that section heading. So we still have like, you know, goals, like quarterly goals, and, you know, 4 to 5 items not addressed yet. But we're at time. So what we would do is we would, you know, the only option for if we're doing everything correctly according to our policies is that we would all need to agree to extend the meeting, right? So proposal would be to extend the meeting, right? So our options are either 1, to do wrap up now, right? And then we would have 20 minutes for wrap up. And then we would be done at the top of the hour. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Our next option would be, you know, extend 20 minutes for quarterly goals. And then we would finish in about 1 hour. If we extended longer than that, extend for like, you know, 45 minutes, then we would finish in 1.5 hours. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So then each of us would go ahead and vote. We could vote really quickly on here, but the idea is that only if a majority of the group is interested in continuing the meeting would we continue. Otherwise, we would check out and we would stop because, you know, we want to take care of people. That makes sense?
Yes.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm ready to stop myself. But you guys can vote for more than one. So let's just start with Abdul.
Yeah, me, first option.
What'd you say? Abdul's first one. So I'm also going to vote for the second one just because the quarterly goals would be kind of fun. Joyce.
Joyce.
For me to,
Actually, I was actually silent.
For 20 minutes for quarterly goals. Lucy.
Okay. Joyce?
For me, number one. Wrap up now.
Joseph?
This is number two. Number two. Extend for 20 minutes for quarterly
Joseph.
goals.
James?
I think extend for 20 minutes to do quarterly goals.
Okay, and I think that's everyone, right?
Yeah, it's
So
It's
1,
the
2,
time.
3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. So I think that the wrapping up would take the cake. And so typically what we would do is during our checkouts, like everyone can, with their checkout, can say what their goals are for the quarter. Does that make sense?
I think the goal was supposed to be very much important to just go through, even if it is 10 minutes.
All right. So Lucy is proposing to do 10 minutes on goals, and then we would finish about 15 minutes late. So does anyone object to that? All right. So we're going to do a round. Abdul?
No objection from my side. Yeah.
Cool. So we compromised on 10 minutes. Plan calendars, Christmas bonus proposals. So quarterly goals. We can still break up into buddy teams if people want to work after we're done. And just to remind you guys, like, you can still do the proposal for the Christmas bonus. You just have to write it out and send it out to everybody. And send it to the HR board and we'll see what happens. Okay, so let's just do a round. So we'll do a quick round of quarterly goals from each person. So it's like a brainstorm. So who wants to start?
For me, is to make sure that recruitment of getting our hard stop is done for 3 months, at least, so that we cannot be on a hard stop. Of getting a new members and do more follow up on them.
Well, and the goal for me on that one is to have 5 people in each sextant team within 3 months. Right, so that makes sense, like as far as like having a specific goal, right?
Yeah.
For me, is for the entire payroll process to be in perfect shape. From the scheduling up to the payment on time.
Improving on our payroll.
We need to update our ASR ranking and global core team budget for all sextant.
So what's the goal again on the budgets? And I didn't hear that, Abdul. Say it again.
Budget need to update it for this current month. Global core team. Because I think this is not updated in our global core team spreadsheet. So need to fulfill this task. And then second one is we need to update it ASR ranking. And we need to working or actual pay and actual working for all members and need to update it at the same times in our public ranking spreadsheet.
Okay, also, selling calendar. We need all of us to learn on how to use a selling calendar on our work reports.
Yeah. To make selling calendar effective.
Well, we should go over that really soon, but you just put the dates of the weeks so that you know what it is. It's just 1 day or 2 days off right now. Other goals?
We need to verify our
client billing also.
daily weekly responsibility spreadsheet.
Oh my God, that's so important. Can you guys highlight that one and put my name on it? Super cool, super important. Any other ones?
Question on client billing. Client billing also databasing workers, work report.
What about client billing and team billing?
Client billing updating overall. Spreadsheet for client and also databasing worker, work report.
And for me, it also relates to our tokens. So we want to have our tokens and start issuing tokens to the team and getting our cyber currencies set up. It's very exciting. Because we have all this Bitcoin, all these other cyber currencies going up. But if we can get our own currency getting big and going up, then we're much better shape than just relying on everyone else's currencies.
5 minutes more for the extension.
Jay, I have a question on databasing worker report.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to also track the main sessions?
We'll go over that later, but overall, yes, we're going to be tracking main sessions. So
okay.
I didn't quite understand this budget ones, update budget spreadsheets. I'm not sure what the goal is there. But people who haven't said anything is like Steve O, James, Joseph. Do you guys have anything you want to add?
Asif and Steve.
For me, I think working on our systems and processes.
That's good.
I would give it a priority since right now I think the whole organization is offline because of our websites, and I think that would be a good priority to work on because we need to be online again for people who want to get more information from us. Actually, like right now they are not able to do that because our systems are down.
Yes. Steve O, Joseph, you guys have anything you want to add?
For me, I have nothing to add.
I think Econaut partnership relation.
What? Econaut partnership what?
Econaut reconciliation.
I can't understand. Can you say it a little slower?
Econaut.
You could say it or write it, Abdul.
Yeah, I think Jay, Economic Partnership reconciliation.
Oh, the reconciliation. Yes, that's important. And I mean, I would just say in general, like finances and accounting, just get all our books for us and our clients, you know, really well organized. And then what about this budget one, Abdul? What was that?
You mean to update the budget spreadsheets because Nelly and the other teams were on soft stop and they did not, their budgets are not yet updated on the budget spreadsheets.
Can we just write that down and make it clear what the goal is? Or do you want to say it again?
To complete the budget.
So it's just to complete the budget?
Yeah.
Okay. And we have to do that if people want to get paid. So I think more of a more clear goal would be to clarify the budget process and make sure that every team is finalizing budgets on time. Okay. I think that we need to add, when a task here would be to add the global core team budget to the verification spreadsheet. Right, so all of the team budgets are on the global verification, the budget verification spreadsheet, but we're not verifying the global core team budget is complete. Okay. So that would be a separate tab at the bottom for the verification of the global core team budget. And there's also other budgets that we probably would want to add there as well. And the only other thing that I added, say again, Abdul?
Weekly value tracking ledger. I think this is not updated for the first and second week for this current month. Exa weekly value tracking ledger, need to update it.
All right, well, let's just say exit value tracking and master ledger. Like the goal is really to complete the entire exit master ledger as soon as possible. I mean, you know, there's 10 going to be 11 manual blocks. Each need to be completed in detail. This is a huge amount of work that needs to get done. Very, very important. The other thing that I added was, you know, preparation for the big sessions like the Saturn session that's coming up. We want the Saturn session to be really big and invite people across the world and do our public launch and recruit more people from the public. Cool. All right, I think this looks good. How's our time going?
It's 1 minute more.
You've got it.
Anything else? Anyone wants to add to our goals for the next 3 months, next quarter?
I think we forget to focus on exa payroll. Are we not supposed to make sure exa payroll is done on time?
Yeah, it's included.
We've been doing pretty good on exa payroll. I think in general we just need to do exa and client, you know, organizing and support. We just want to make sure we are getting everything done possible for the client. The other thing I want to make sure is for, you know, in our client relations that do time budgets and realistic cost analysis of our work and value, and either get paid more money or cut the amount of work that we're doing. You know, because we're still getting, I mean, we're still having difficulty accomplishing all of the work based on the money that they're paying us. So we need to figure that out. And this involves like our billing, our reporting, and our planning, etc. So we need to get better at all of that to really push.
Time is up.
Any last thing? Cool. All right, so let's go into wrap up. It's good to note here that our wrap up would involve, not a wrap up, right before, if we continue this process, the next step would be to prioritize the goals. The next step would be to prioritize the goals. But we're not going to do that, okay? We're going to go into the wrap up. So we come up here to wrap up, and we have about 15 minutes for wrap up. And again, this would be 11:30 is when we were supposed to do it, and we postponed to 12. So a wrap up is going to be about 10 to 15 minutes, okay?
Okay.
So we're going to do next steps for like 3 minutes. Review the responsibilities for like, 3 to 5 minutes. We also could check in on buddy team breakouts if we wanted to, which relates to responsibilities and tasks. Evaluation, we should be doing our evaluations. Session verification spreadsheet, everyone should understand how that is done. And this also relates to daily verification spreadsheets. Selling calendar value tracking work hours, I wanted to go through this briefly. So I think this would be like 0. People can do the evals on your own if you want to. For now, we're gonna do more eval things in the future. So this is the next step. So next step should be right here. This is where we put the next steps here. So I want to make sure we do evals in processes. I'm gonna add that. So is someone going to do the session verification spreadsheet? Who signed up for that?
Yeah, in the budget.
Does anyone know how to do the session verification spreadsheet?
Yes.
Do we need to talk about it more in our next steps? It seems like if people don't understand that, it's really important.
We know that, yes.
Well, does someone want to sign up to do it? Is anyone currently working right now and doing something besides me?
Yeah, for me, I'm working on video info index, updating the note.
Great. Okay, so me and Lucy are doing work, so it seems like one of the other 5 people should be able to do the session verification spreadsheet while we're doing checkouts. Right? You don't need to do it any other time. You do it right now. But someone just needs to do it. And if you don't know how to do it, it's perfectly fine. But just sign up to try to look at it and learn a little bit about it, so that next time maybe you'll be able to do it.
Yes.
Like, do we really need to sit here for 5 minutes asking someone to sign up to do the session verification spreadsheet? Like, let's see, did anyone sign up earlier for it? Session task responsibility verifier. Albina and Joyce were supposed to do it. Why don't you guys just say you're going to do it?
Yes, doing right now, Jake.
I'm doing it.
All right, well, we didn't hear you. All right. So daily verification spreadsheets, also, we need to start getting those done too. Meeting value tracking. We can do that in our buddy team breakout schedule, and then we review our schedule. So let's start with some next steps. Can anyone think of other next steps that we want to do? No other next steps?
I don't know the next.
Yeah, so we certainly have all of these other things we want to discuss that we didn't get to. Team equity, network equity. I think I put that on our quarterly goals as well. If I didn't, someone could add that. All right, so I think we're done with next steps. Review responsibilities and tasks. Let's see. So priority responsibilities, priority tasks. So I guess we didn't have any specific responsibilities that came up today, but there's definitely, obviously, some specific projects that came up. There was payroll. There was budgeting. What else was there? Recruitment.
Recruitment.
Recruitment would be a responsibility, and that would be investor relations. Yeah. And then there was also some calendar and scheduling, but we won't worry about that for now. So are there any, is there anyone who wants to sign up and make sure we follow through with the things we talked about in our session and getting everything indexed and payroll, budgeting, investor relations? Anyone have any questions about the work that needs to get done?
No question.
Does anyone here not have any work to do regarding payroll, budgeting, and investor relations and recruitment? Okay, cool. So it sounds like we're all organized and good there. Reviews on task evaluation, check. All right, selling calendar, value tracking for work hours. I think this is really important just to check in on really fast, because you need to be able to do your work reporting. You know, just it should only take a minute. We'll keep going on over and over again until people understand. So if you come here, you go here, we're still, for whatever reason, people haven't finished updating the spreadsheet. I'm not sure why people just stopped. But I'll just remind you that we need to finish it. So on the overview day by day, oh, and the third day is now gone, so you can cross it out. I'm getting in the habit of like crossing out the days, so that's easier to keep track of where we are. So there we go in format. So today's the 4th day of the Selling calendar. But then all of these needs to be updated. So this all needs to be updated. Like I mentioned this many times. Like, is someone going to take care of this? So these are not dates. You can see this is a date. These ones are not dates, and then these ones are just incorrect and need to be redone. So can someone do this, please?
Yeah, Jay, I can do that.
Can help also.
Great. Okay, so for the work reporting, it's all about the week. So these weeks are done. We're currently on the 82nd East Moon Week, right? And it's Monday, December 18th to Monday, December 25th. So these are the Gregorian days that are not aligned. This is the exact start time, the exact stop time, and this is the general dates, right? So just days of week is going to be Monday to Sunday. That makes sense?
Yes.
So for your work report for this week of the Selene calendar, if you're just doing Gregorian calendar, is just Monday through Sunday. You do Monday, December 18th through Sunday, December 24th. And then we pay that for the first quarter moon weekly payroll. So this one will be Sunday through Saturday. And this is just one day. This is just Sunday. So the next week would be Monday through Tuesday. And this is 8 days. That make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
And the reason why the next week is 8 days is because this is the date where you have 2 days and 1 selling day. So once every 48 days, there's a day where you have 2 Gregorian days aligned with 1 selling day because they don't perfectly match together. So Lucy, am I helping anything, or are you getting any closer, or what? Hello?
I'm updating videos on my master training video index.
Okay, but Lucy, we're going over the Selenine work reporting because you said you didn't understand it. So if you could stop doing that for a minute so that we can answer your question.
Now I understand, Jay, but this week I begin from Sunday. So where will I put the Sunday work?
Just in your work report. Oh, your Sunday work from last week, December 17th?
Yeah.
Well, that would be just an extra day. It's the day out of time, the dute, and it's the day off. So that would just be an extra day. So for example, in my work report, I have this week that I'm starting, and then I have the 164 East Moon week for this Selene day, and then I have the day out of time separate. So it's like a separate day that I do value tracking as a separate day, separate from the week, and that value is calculated separately. And when we do our end of month, it's actually going to be a separate day. So you have week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and then you have the day at a time, which is the due. So this would go like this. It would go due. Okay. And this would be the December 17th. Right. So basically, the idea, if someone was paid on December 17th, additional money. First of all, it's time and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
For pay. But it's supposed to be a day off. It's like a hard stop. No one's supposed to be working that day. And if you are required to work, for example, for payroll or budgeting, or some specific assigned responsibility, you would get time and a half for that. Okay. Yeah. So that's our day off. It's a separate day. It's not part of the weeks. It's a separate special day. That's not a day of the week, but it's the last day of the month, and then we start the new month. Okay.
Okay, should we include on this payroll or after next month payroll?
Yeah, we should include on this payroll, but there shouldn't be anyone getting paid on that day. There shouldn't. If there's someone getting paid on that day, it's fine, but it would be rare. It would mean that basically they didn't get paid enough during the week, so they weren't working and they were making up hours.
I think we didn't know about it when we saw you.
Yeah.
On Skype, we were actually working. So next time
we'll. Well, no, but I'm saying that it's fine that you guys were working, but the point is that the only reason you would get paid hours for the day at a time is if you didn't work the rest of the month, like that you had a bunch of hours you hadn't worked yet. So if you're already working into your back pay hours, right, that you're not going to get any additional pay for the day at a time. You will get back pay just like everything else, but there's no additional pay. Okay.
Okay.
And the same thing would be true here.
Okay, how can we calculate for that? And also, how can we update on our personnel work tracking page?
Yeah, so in here would be the same thing. We would be adding just literally one day, just like the day at a time, hours on the day at a time worked. So eventually we could create a whole thing, but it's not really a week, it's just one day. And this is December, this is December 17th. Yeah, December 17th, right? And then this would technically be December 16th. December 16th, yeah. So it's a little different, but we'll get used to it. Overall, the way to think about it is the extra day of the month is really like it's just not really a day where the goal is that people aren't working, we're not paying people. The only people who are working are probably people who are already working way more hours than they are budgeted anyways. So we're just not really paying people for that day. And then what would happen is that they would just accumulate back pay, and it's only for people who are assigned to do the specific work, like the payroll and the budget. So basically the payroll should be done by the 4th week, right? Payroll should be done. Everyone's work report should be updated. And then on the day at a time, it's like, okay, this is when we do the payroll, get it all updated and finish it, right? And people can work on the work report. And like, this is a good day to update your work report if you haven't done that, like individual work sessions, you know, but overall that should the goal is to get that done by week 4. I like these to be opened out so you can actually like see what's going on here.
So now are we going to calculate those hours and how?
For the day at a time?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if there's extra hours that people worked on that day, you can calculate it. If people just add it into their 4th week, it's not a big deal either, okay?
Okay.
But generally speaking, this should just be 0. There shouldn't be anyone getting paid for that particular day because it's just not, like the goal is just to take the day off. You know, so if there is someone who needs to get paid because of the work they did that day, that's perfectly fine, but it would be rare, okay?
Yeah.
The only way you can get paid on this day is if you didn't do the work that you were scheduled to do for the rest of the other 4 weeks. Because you would already be at the max of your budget for the 4 weeks, and therefore working the extra day, although you accumulate time and a half back pay, you're not getting paid because we didn't budget it. Does that make sense? So the only way to get paid extra money for that is through output bonuses, which would be over here anyways, right? Anyways, it's a minor thing. It's really not a big deal.
Yeah, I'm getting Jay. I think I should now push my Sunday down to 4th week.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. You can just have it be in the 4th week. You know, just don't worry about it too much for now. We'll all get used to it over time, and it's a minor thing, you know. But overall, the goal is to take the day off and have a few people. I think it's just healthy for us to take 1 day off a month. I mean, obviously, each individual one of us is taking days off here and there. But as far as like as an organization, when we have all of our senior sextant managers going 24 hours a day, it's just like, okay, 1 day a month, we're just going to shut down. And I think it's really healthy.
Okay. I can leave it maybe for the next month to be included, or I can push it to the 4th week. It's still okay, right? I'm okay now. I'm now getting.
Cool. Cool. But the main thing is just like, you know, here's the days of the week of the selling calendar. It's Monday through Sunday. This one's Monday through Tuesday. It's 8 days for next week. So the next week will be an 8-day week in the Gregorian calendar, even though within the Selenian calendar, it's only 7 days and it's still a 7-day week. It just correlates to 8 days in the Gregorian calendar. Okay.
Okay, what happened if I push my date down because I work on payroll on that day? The whole of Sunday, we work on payroll, and only a few things updating on public ranking. That was only 0.5 hours on public ranking. Can we now calculate our time for that? For one
Sure.
day?
I mean, you would just put it here on the day at a time, day that you worked that wasn't during the week. And if you look here, I mean, if you look under Lucy, I mean, you already worked back pay. So it's not like any additional pay, but you are accumulating time and a half back pay for that extra time on the day at a time. Okay. Because the day at a time is like, it's kind of like a holiday. So you get time and a half for working on the 29th day of the month. Right?
That's how
did not include that hours on my total hours.
Oh, it's already included, Lucy. I think it's not just less than.
No. It is for this Sunday, Albina. It's the last Sunday.
Yeah, I know. Now that is for the new month now. It's not on that one. It's now for the new month. I think we have a spreadsheet.
Anyways, we really need to move on here, guys. You guys can ask more questions. You guys can ask more questions over time, but the one day of the 29th day of the month is very, very minor. As long as you understand how to do your weekly value tracking for your work report, you're good to go. Okay?
Yeah.
And you don't even get paid for this month anyways. It's not a day you get paid for. You get paid for your weekly stipends. Everyone's getting a weekly stipend. People are not getting paid hourly. So this is just because technically it's not part of a week. You can track hours separately. They're worth time and a half back pay bonuses. So it's it's good to do that, but I wouldn't worry about it for now. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. All right. So let's just finish up here. Where are we at? That took a little longer than I thought. Meeting value tracking, not a priority because of the hard stop. Because of hard stop. We should focus on recruitment or something else. Schedule. So we briefly checked in on the schedule when we were getting started. There's the board meeting. And then here's all of our schedule. So we've got our Andromeda team starting in 2 hours for people who are going to be up for that. And then the January 3rd Earth session. Quarter moon, I can't remember when the quarter moon is. If someone wants to check on that. But tomorrow, 8th moon, co-chairs. If anyone has the time for the co-chair meeting, see what time that is. So at the end of every meeting, we're supposed to check in briefly on our schedule so everyone knows when the next meeting is and when we're going to continue our agenda. It looks like it is at 2 a.m. my time, so 2, 3, 4 a.m., 4 p.m., 4 a.m. America's time, 4 p.m. Australia time, which would be 10 p.m. UTC, right? So that's the 8th moon session. Quarter moon, I don't know when the quarter moon is. No idea. Oh, here it is, the 26th, on Tuesday the 26th at 1 a.m. Tuesday the 26th at 1 to 3 a.m. America's time, 3 p.m. Australia time, 9 a.m. UTC. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Does anyone want to do buddy team breakouts after this, or are we just going to check out and be done?
Check out and done.
Cool. Let's do it. Meeting follow-up. I don't know what that is. Oh, yeah. We'll go over that in the future. So, Lucy, you want to take us through the checkouts, and then we'll be done? Any other last questions of anything before we check out? All right, go for it, Lucy.
Okay, let's check out, guys. James, can you check out?
Yes, sure. Guys, I'm very thankful for this session. I think it was conducted very well. And even though I came a bit late, I was able to learn a lot of things. And I'm thankful for the people who are conducting the session. So I'm very grateful. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jen. Joycey? Joycey, can you check out, please?
Sorry, I did not hear you. Thank you for this session again. And There are quite many today, even though it's quite late in the evening for some. And wishing that all the goals will be achieved. Thank you, guys. Good night.
Thank you, guys. Abdul, can you check out?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys. This session was really good, and I enjoyed this session. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Steve. Steve O, can you check out, please?
Thank you, everyone. This session was a good one, and I wish you happy holidays. Check.
Thank you, Steve. Joseph, can you check out?
Yeah, sure, Lucy. Thank you, guys. This session was great, and I think on the goals, I hope to continue to learn on these goals, so that I can also do by myself as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. Albina?
Thank you, guys, and have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to Albina. Thank you. Jay, can you check out?
I thought this session went well. I'm really glad we prioritized the wrap up and checking in on our schedule. We didn't do too good at the bottom and top of the hour, but we'll just keep pushing it. We'll get better over time. And yeah, I mean, the only other thing to mention, if we do shorter sessions, the most important thing is updating the master topic lists, and that the co-chairs and the different leadership are making sure that we continue over all the important items from this meeting into the next meeting, so that we can, at the next meeting, we can just jump right in and get started right where we left off. Like, that's the goal eventually, is that we're really organized and from meeting to meeting, as opposed to needing to create everything anew each time. Check.
For your time. Thank you, guys, for today's session. It has been a great and a short session. I think we need to learn on how to work on this, and we'll get used to it. Thank you, and have a good day and good night.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye, guys.